All right, I will say good evening. We are continuing Emeretz Hashem on Nun Alpha and Base 51b, and we are picking up Emeretz Hashem 5 lines down from the top. So remember again, the last topic we left off with was the idea that when benching, one should go ahead and share the kos shel bracha, the cup that was used for benching, together with one's wife. So the Gemara tells a story. The Gemara says, Ula ikla be Rav Nachman. Shula went to the house of Rav Nachman. Karech rifta barich berachas mezona. Yoav leikasa de berachas Rav Nachman. So Ula was a guest of Rav Nachman's house. He made hamotzi, and then he was given the honor of leading benching. So Ula led benching, and when he finished benching, he sent the cup of wine, the kos shel bracha, to Rav Nachman. Only Rav Nachman lishtar mar kasa de berachas liyalsa. So Rav Nachman said to Ula, would you mind also sharing the cup of wine with my wife, Yalsa? So Ula said, it's not necessary. That literally, again, the womb of the wife is blessed through the womb or through the stomach of her husband. Shene'emar, uberach pri bitnocha. The pasuk says, I will bless, literally again, the fruit of your stomach male, and not the fruit of her stomach. So the idea that Ula was trying to say is that bracha in the home comes through the husband, and therefore again, the wife's womb will be blessed, with the kos shel bracha going through her husband. So Ula did not feel it was necessary to share the cup of wine with Yalsa. He felt if he gave it to Rav Nachman, that would translate into bracha for the household. It's Taina Mihacha Braisa that supports this. Rabbi Nasan or Minayin Shein Pri Bitna Shel Isha Misbarich Alim Pri Bitna Shel Ish. How do we know that literally again the womb of a wife is blessed through the stomach of her husband? In other words, that if the husband ingests the kos shel bracha, that results in bracha for his wife. Shene'emar Beirach Pri Bitnecha. Says Hashem will bless the fruit of your stomach, masculine. Pri bitna lo ne'emar. It doesn't say her stomach. Ella pri bitnacha, your stomach, meaning the man. Okay, so therefore again, bottom line is Ula sent the cup of wine to be shared with her. Rav Nachman did not share it with Yalsa. All right, so Adahachi Shama Yalsa heard that that Ula was not sharing the kos shel bracha with her. And what happened? First white line, Kama Bizihira, she got up in anger, also the Bechamishman to the wine cellar, Vitavra Mea Dani Chamran. She broke 400 barrels of wine, meaning she was a bit displeased with the fact that Ula would not share with her the kos shel bracha. Amli Rav Nachman, Nishta Lamar Kasachrina. So Rav Nachman says, Ula, please, can you please send her another cup of wine? Could we please work this out over here? My wife is on a rampage, so can you please go ahead and send her another cup of wine? So what did he do? Shalach la, he said, send another cup of wine. And he said, Kol hai nivga dibir chasahi. So Ula said, obviously they had finished the kos shel bracha. So what he did is he filled up the cup of wine from the barrel, and he said anything that comes from this barrel has the status of kos shel bracha. So he was trying to appease her. She didn't buy it. Shal chale, she sent to him mimahadure mili. So literally from traveling peddlers, from traveling salesmen, they like to talk a lot. Umismartute kalami, and from rags you get lice. So pretty much what Yalsa was saying back to Ula is, you're nothing, right? You're a peddler, you're a rag. In other words, don't appease me with things that are not true. I know that the barrel is not considered to be the kos shel bracha, but it's only the kos shel bracha that is considered to be the kos shel bracha, and therefore Yalsa was very unhappy. Amar Rabasi, the in masichin ala kos shel bracha. Rabasi says, once you're holding the cup of wine and ready to bench, one should not engage in idle chatter. If I'm Rabasi, I'm a kos shel bracha, a kos shel pranos. And Rabasi says, we do not make a bracha, literally again, on a cup of misfortune, paranos or punishment. My kos shel paranos. What does it mean, a cup of misfortune? Amar Nachman bar Yitzchak, kos sheni. This refers to a second cup. Now, this is part of a larger motif that we actually saw earlier in the Masechta, and we see a couple of other Masechtas as well, about kinds of zugos. Zugos means that there's a problem of doing things in pairs. Apparently, again, Shadim have some level of control or some level of power over something that is done in pairs. So the idea, for example, is if a person drinks 2 cups of wine, that makes them susceptible to the shadim. So if one is going to drink, one has to make sure to drink an odd number of cups. So the Gemara says over here, Ravasi says, you don't make a bracha on a cup of pranas, a cup of misfortune, a cup of suffering. And what is that? That's ultimately, again, kos sheni, a second cup. a second cup. It's very interesting. Tanya Makabrisa that supports this. Hashosik Yifayim, a person drinks 2 cups of wine, Lo Yivarech shouldn't make a bracha on it. Mishum Shenamar, He Kon Likras Alokeh Yisrael. Literally, be prepared to meet your God, Klal Yisrael. V'haylo Miskan, this person is not prepared because he's doing something that places him in mortal danger. Rabbi Abo said, V'amri b'masnisa, Tana ha'ochel u'mahalich mevarich mu'umat. If a person is walking and eating, so they should stand still in order to bench. Ukishu ochel, when a person is eating standing up, standing in place, mevarich miyushav, they should sit down and bench. Ukishu meisa va'ochel yoshim orach. And a person is reclining and eating, they should sit up straight. But the Gemara says in all these cases, v'helchos abakulu yoshim orach. In all cases, when possible, one should always go ahead and sit normally in order to bench. Okay, so that's the halacha. In general, one shouldn't bench standing up, one shouldn't bench reclining. Rather, one should bench in a seated position. Okay, we'll say Hadran Allah Shlosh Sha'achlu Mazel Tov on finishing the parak. We now begin a new parak, a really fascinating discussion over here in the 8th parak of Maseches Berachos. Elu Devarim Shabein Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel. The following are matters of dispute between Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel in the context of a meal. B'Seuda, Beis Shammai Mevarech al Yom, Mevarech al Yayin. So Beis Shammai says when it comes to Kiddush, again we're going to expound on this in all of the Gemara. So when it comes to Kiddush, Beis Shammai says first you make the bracha on the day, like Mekadesh HaShabbos, or Mekadesh Yisrael Vazmanim, make the bracha on the day itself, and then afterwards you make the Hagafen. Beis Hillel says, no. Beis Hillel says, no, first you make the bracha of Hagafen, and then afterwards you make the bracha on the day. That's first machlokes. Next, Beis Shammai says, when you make Kiddush, so the right thing to do is first wash on the Tilas Yadayim, then make Kiddush, and then go right into Hamotzi after Kiddush. Beis Hillel says, no. First you make Kiddush, then you wash, and then you say Hamotzi. Okay, again, we'll discuss the logic behind all of this in the Gemara. Beis Shammai says, after you wash, you wipe your hands in a cloth, and you put the cloth down on the table. Beis Hillel says, no, you don't put it on the table, rather you put it on the chair that you're sitting on. So Beis Shammai says, when you're finished with your meal, first you sweep up the house, and then you wash my machronim, the washing before benching. Beis Hillel says, no, first you wash my machronim, and then afterwards you sweep the house. Again, we're going to see the reason for all of this in the Gemara. So this is an interesting case. So this case has to do with the following situation. Imagine you ate shalosh with this, right? And you have to bench. But at the same time you have to bench, you also have to recite Havdalah, but you have only 1 cup of wine. So what is the proper order upon which to recite the Berachos? So Beis Shammai says, Ner, Borei Ma'arei Aish, Mazon, which is benching, then Bisamim, then Havdalah. And Beis Hillel says, Ner u'bisamim mazon b'avdal. Beis Hillel says, no, first you make the bracha on the Ner, borei ma'orei ha'esh, then borei minei bisamim, then benching, and then Havdalah. Again, we'll see in the Gemara what the machlokes is over here. Beis Shammai says, shebara ma'or ha'esh, that the proper bracha over the candle at Havdalah is shebara ma'or, singular, ha'ish. God created the light of the fire. Beis Hillel omrim, borei ma'orei ha'esh, lights plural. Okay, like I said, we'll discuss in the Gemara what is the machlokes. Ein mevarchen lo al ner v'lo b'sam shel akum, v'lo al ner v'lo b'sam shel meisim. So Beis Hillel says as follows: the Mishnah says, you can't make a bracha, you can't make borei maharei aish or borei minei b'samim on a fire or on b'samim that belong to avodah zarah, and not from a fire or besamim that were used for the dead. In other words, they would light a candle by the dead, they would put out besamim in order to take away the odor. You can't use either of these ultimately for Havdalah. Nor can you use ner or besamim of avodah zarah. So in other words, the akum cases, you can't use the ner or besamim that belong to a Gentile, right? You can't use the ner or besamim that were used for a corpse, and you also can't use the ner or besamim that were used for avodah zarah. Ve'in mevarchin al haner achi oslanoro. You can only say borei maharei aish if you get benefit from the light. Again, we'll discuss the scope of that benefit. What happens, so now transitioning to a different case. What happens if someone ate and they forgot they didn't recite benching? So Beis Shammai says, Yachsrodim koma v'yivarech. So Beis Shammai says the person has to go back to where they ate and recite benching. Or Beis Hillel says, no, yivarech b'makom sheniskar. You could bench wherever you remembered. You don't have to go back to where you ate. How long after you eat do you have to bench? Until the food is digested in your stomach. So what happens if, again, a person finished eating, but they haven't yet benched? And then, let's say the shamus, the butler, gives them another cup of wine, and that's the only cup of wine they have left. What should you do? Beis Shammai says, so Beis Shammai says, make a hagofen, and then afterwards you can bench. Beis Hillel says, no, first bench, and then afterwards you make a brei piragafen. Va'onin amen achar yisaham mevarich. You can answer amen after a Jew makes a bracha. Ve'ein onin amen achar kusya mevarich at shishma kala bracha kula. But you cannot go ahead and answer amen after a kusi makes a bracha, ultimately until you hear the bracha in its entirety. All right, I will say, shkoyach, a lot of information over there in the Mishnah. Again, the way the Mishnah structure is a lot of independent halachas, but yet, as Rashi points out, all of these halachos are to be explained in Mirat Hashem in the Gemara. Shkoyach, we'll stop over here for today. Wishing everyone a wonderful evening.